You're listening to the Hello Well with Danielle show, a podcast taking women of color on a journey exploring all things wellness and travel related. We're all about showing you how to put on your oxygen mask first and creating lasting self-care habits that will free you to travel the world and live the life you truly desire, and not one you have to fake loving. I'm your host, Danielle Washington. Now let's buckle up and start this journey. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Hello Well with Danielle podcast. I am your host, Danielle Washington, and happy really new year. This is really the first week in 2021, and it has been a eventful week if you've been paying attention to anything in the news. And let's be real, we knew it was going to be eventful. We knew the Georgia election was coming up. We knew the electoral thing would happen. But I don't know, unless you are Dionne Warwick, I don't think any of us saw what happened at the Capitol happening in the future. And that was just such a sad and crazy moment. Oh, gosh, you just think he can't get any worse, but yes, he can. But, it's a new year, and this is a time of the year that we feel like it's a time to push the reset button. And I think many of us want to push the reset button after this week. But it's a time of the year when we think about pushing the reset button and going after all the things we said we really wanted. And this is the time when we're like, oh my God, this is it. This is my year. I am officially declaring that I am going to go after these things that I said I really wanted. I'm going to stop all these bad habits. I'm going to create healthier ones. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to find better ways to be, better with my financial choices. I am going to just stop the negative. I'm going to travel more. This is my year. And I'm going to start this year off with a controversial conversation or controversial comment. And I'm going to say it. Fuck your vision board and fuck your New Year's resolutions. Yep, I said it. And in the great words of Nene Leakes, I said what I said. F your New Year's resolutions and F your vision boards. But before I get into why I'm saying all these things, I wanted to give you guys a couple new announcements. So the first announcement I wanted to talk about is I know I've been talking about this 5-day challenge, breaking up the norm, that I was planning on doing next week. But after talking to many of you about, what's going on in your life and kind of where you are, and that's what, the first step in my program is awakening to where you are right now. I know we've been talking about in 2020, getting out of that survival mode of it is what it is, this is just the way life, the way the cookie crumbles. This is the way my life is. And getting out of that mode, we didn't start in survival mode in 2020. 2020 just put a bigger light on this living in the survival mode. And so what I wanted to do instead of doing the 5-day challenge was to create a masterclass, really focusing in on ditching the survival mode mentality to be able to thrive in 2021. So look out for more information on that. So that will be happening Thursday, January 28th, and we'll be having a masterclass on how to ditch the survival mode so you can truly thrive in 2021. The other thing I wanted to mention is if you were following me on Instagram, my Instagram account is Hello Well with Danielle, like the podcast, as well as if you're in our Facebook community, which is the Wellness Revolution for Women of Color. If you're not in either one of those, I'm questioning why not. The Wellness Revolution community is such a great way to get engaged in the community, and like that's where I try to pour in there a lot. But also on Instagram as well, because that's where on Instagram I do every Thursday. Every Wednesday I do a wellness confession, and that is a time where I talk. It's like a mini podcast, but it's like a shorter time frame. But, one thing I hate about the wellness community is that you see all these people in their perfect little clothes and their perfect little meals. Like, I always eat healthy and I never have sugar and I meditate every single day. And it's just so easy because I wake up wanting to exercise and do all these things. Nah, that's not wellness. And wellness is different for everyone. And there's times we just fall off the wagon, and I don't think we talk about that often enough. And so that's what wellness confessions are all about. Times where, we may not, be doing the best in our wellness journey, and how can we do better? And so, long story short, I went on a total tangent, but one of the things I talked about both in Instagram and Facebook, last year was a tough year for many people, and I wanted to gift people something. And so I decided to give 20 people free 30-minute Reiki sessions. And you're probably wondering, if you aren't familiar with Reiki, well, what's Reiki and what is she giving away? Reiki is a Japanese technique for stress reduction and relaxation. Or the way I like to think about Reiki, it's energy healing. But the way I like to do it, and you don't have to be in front of someone, you can do it distantly. So I can do it from California and you can be in Europe, and it will still work just as effectively. But the way I think about this energy healing is, think about your body, and you have all these emotions and energies in your body, and it could be your own, it could be past trauma, all these different things. You could have blocked chakras, and your body has like this massive traffic jam of emotions. Reiki is a great way to kind of smooth out that traffic so that the energy can flow freely through your body. And so I am a Reiki 1 and 2 practitioner, soon to be a Reiki master. I'm actually in the process of working towards that now, which I'm super excited about. But I wanted to gift, especially after this week, because I know this week has been a heavy week for many people. I wanted to give 5 listeners free Reiki sessions. So not 5 Reiki sessions for one listener, 1 Reiki session for 5 different listeners. So it'll be a free 30-minute Reiki session. So you're probably wondering, well, how do I get this free session? And how can I make sure that I'm getting up on this giveaway? What you need to be doing is make sure that you're following. So you need to follow me on Instagram. So follow me at HelloWell with Danielle, and it's Rogue Experiences. So Rogue Experiences and HelloWell with Danielle. And then send me a DM saying, hey sis, I'm following you. And hey, am I one of the 5 people who gets the free Reiki session? So if you make the cut for the first 5 people, you will get a free session. And so I just wanted to gift that. This week was a tough week for many. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, that I'm giving away that. And now let's get to this week's topic. Again, F your vision board and F your New Year's resolutions. I don't know why I seem so excited about that, but I just kind of am. And this is the reason why. It's hella freaking easy to make a vision board, and it's hella easy to set resolutions. But the part that's hard is keeping it. And, have you ever thought about, why is it that you're always disappointed at the results of your vision board? Or do you ever question why you set a goal to, travel more or save more money, but ended up falling off the wagon so quickly year after year after year? That gets disappointing. That gets hard to kind of get motivated to want to do it. So each year you do it and you fail, little by little, your motivation and your belief in these goals and these resolutions. And I say goals and resolutions because I know people say I make a New Year's resolution. Some people make goals. They're both the same for me right now in this conversation. But what a lot of people don't realize is that by March, typically by the end of March, most people who've made a resolution have fallen off the wagon and have stopped and said, I'm done, I'm out, towel thrown, I'm done. And of the people who actually make resolutions or goals each year, only 12% of those people actually feel that they've actually succeeded in their resolutions. That's not a lot of people. So why would people want to do this? Because they want to live the life that they truly desire. And I totally get that. So I wanted to help for those who still want to keep their resolutions and their vision boards. I want to help you figure out why they're not working and how can you do better. So let's start off with where are we going to start off? So I'm going to start off with giving you tips for why your vision boards aren't working. And then we'll get to why you aren't sticking to your resolutions. And so start with the vision board. And I was a vision board person. I used to love going to vision board parties. Vision board parties were a bomb. I would get together with a group of girlfriends, and I would always end up meeting some new people and making great connections. I made some great connections at vision board parties. There's always some great wine, great music, great food. I show up my little pretty, big whiteboard, my scissors, my glue stick, and I am ready to go because someone has a room filled of magazines, and I'm all set to create, this pretty vision board. And that's the first thing I want to say. A vision board is not about these pretty pictures and putting them in a pretty, making sure that they're so organized so beautifully that it's Instagram worthy. That's not what it's about. You need to, before you even pick up that glue stick, you need to be really super clear on what it is that you want to feel. Because it's really hard to obtain these goals if you're only putting pictures together on a board and some nice little words to go along with it, but you don't really have an intention and a goal behind it. And if you've been following us for a while, or if you're new, I always put journal prompts in the show notes. So each show always has journal prompts because I'm a strong believer in journaling. That's why I wrote Travel is My Therapy, which is a guided self-care travel journal. And as well as I have the 21-day self-care redefine your mindset journal. Because journaling is so helpful in really getting to the root of your thoughts and what you're thinking. So before you, again, put your pen to paper for your resolutions or putting that glue stick to that first little cute little picture that's going to give you all those dreams, I want you to think about these things. I want you to think about, what does my ideal life look like? What can I do this year to bring me closer to that ideal life? And in what ways can I start living that life right now? And then I want you to think, when I picture myself at the end of next year or end of this year, whatever, what do I see? What have I accomplished? What kind of person am I? And then what brings me the most happiness? And then the biggest question that I think you should really spend the most time on, because I think this is where a lot of people get hung up on when making any trying to change goal, resolution, vision board, is if I wasn't worried about time, money, or whatever limiting belief that you kind of hold on and that you personally hold on to, if I wasn't worried about time, money, or whatever that belief is, what would I do? What would I be? What would I have? Because again, if you're making goals from a limiting belief mindset, from a lack mindset, from a victim mindset, you're still setting yourself up to fail, sis. So, before you start getting in on creating this pretty little board, I want you to get clear on how you want to feel. And with that, I want you to be specific, and I want you to personalize it. A lot of times we think we just got to have, I got to have a travel thing because everyone has travel. And of course, I need to make sure it has something about love because I want love, and I want money too because who doesn't want money? So I need to put this money thing on. It's like, so we're just checking things off that we say that, well, of course I need to have because I should have that because that's what everyone else has. But that's not clear. If you put this white picket fence house because that's what you feel that society's telling you need to have and this perfect job, but that's not really lining up with your goals and how you want to feel, that's not going to work. So you want to make sure that it's really personalized and it really fits you because happiness is different for you. It's different for me. So you want to make sure that what you're putting together on this vision board really aligns with what you want in life and not what you feel that society is telling you need to have and checking it off. Also think about and be focused on not just the goal, but instead focus on how you want to feel. And what I mean by that is, it's not that I just want to lose 20 pounds. And I don't know why I said that because it's not like I want to lose 20 pounds. If I lost 20 pounds, I would look anorexic and crazy and I would lose my backside. I always say my backside is my best side. But I digress. But it's about how you want to feel when you achieve that goal. How do you want to feel when you lose that weight? It's not about losing that X amount of weight, but it's about the feeling. So I really want you to focus in on the desired feeling and not just focus in on the goal. And then also take your time. Find what speaks to you. Like, I used to do this thing with the vision board party. It was like, well, I have to have this board done by the party. So I had, just one night. And in those few hours, I needed to be done. And that's not really giving yourself time. Sometimes you need to start and you need to walk away. You need to pray. You need to meditate. You need to go for a walk, be in nature. You need to journal a little bit more. Give yourself time and do not rush the process. Do not rush to feel like I need to have this board done by X date. Give yourself the time you need to make sure that it fits and is in line with what you truly feel that you want in life. And then once you make the board and you've gone through all this work, the worst thing you can do is throw this board up in the closet. And because that's what I used to do. But I have 50 million people that I know who've done the same thing. It's like you make this amazing vision board and then you throw it in the closet and you don't look at it until you're looking for another clean whiteboard, for the next year. You're not going to remember in October what you put on the board and the things that you said you wanted and the way you wanted to feel if you aren't looking at it and seeing it every day. So you want to make sure it's in a place where you can see it daily so you can really connect with it. Because it's not about just naming it, claiming it, throwing it on the board, and it's done. And that's what a lot of people do. They think that, once I put the board up, then they're like, okay, universe, it's your turn. I'm just waiting for you to grant my wishes. And you're thinking there's like a vision board fairy. There is no vision board fairy. In case you were wondering, like the Easter Bunny, there is no vision board fairy. There is no magical, I just put it on here and now it's done and it's going to manifest. And that's one of the worst mistakes you can make. Naming it, claiming it, throwing on a board is not the end result. Naming it, claim it, you have to believe it. You have to believe in what you're writing, but you also need to put some actions behind this. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. And you're going to be disappointed year after year and after year. So those were my thoughts on vision boards. So I'm curious to see what you think about that. Now let's get on to resolutions. And I don't know why I get excited about resolutions, because this is where I have more aggression about. So with resolution and that resolution mindset, because you could have a New Year's resolution mindset in other parts of your life, especially when it comes to making routines and changing habits. And so the one thing that really I've seen that will ruin any goal, routine, habit changing thing that you're trying to do in your life is having what I call the resolution perfectionism. And you know what I'm talking about. It is when you set a really high freaking goal for yourself that must be achieved immediately. And think about it. So it's like, from now on, I'm going to exercise every day for 1 hour. Or from now on, I'm going to keep the house spotless. If I did New Year's resolutions this year, I'm looking around at this house right now and I'm like, I would have failed by now. So that's not what it's about. It is about, realizing that change doesn't happen overnight. You didn't create these habits that you want to change overnight. You didn't wake up and say, oh, I'm going to not save money and I'm going to be broke, or I'm going to make sure that I don't travel every single day in 2020. That's not what you woke up and did. You created some of these habits over time. So as much time as it took, hopefully not as much time as you took, but give yourself grace to know that it took you time to make these habits that you want to change. So it's going to take some time to make the changes. And it's, and this all or nothing mentality is not going to help you. Meaning that you have to do it now. There has to be no mistakes, no slip ups. Like, it must be perfect. It doesn't allow, this resolution perfectionism doesn't allow any wiggle room for you to have a oops day. Oh, life happened. Oh, I was really upset about what happened at the Capitol. So, I just didn't feel like exercising. I didn't feel like exercising. And if I had a resolution and I had this all or nothing mentality, I would have failed on that day. And I would have been mad at myself for failing. And so, again, having this all or nothing mentality, this, you must get everything done right, is stressful. And this, and it's a quick way to give up. If you keep feeling like you're failing over and over and over, you're like, why am I keep doing this? If I'm telling myself every single day for 3 weeks that I failed, I have nothing, I failed, every day I failed. It does not feel good. It does not feel good. And it's going to make you be like, well, if I'm going to keep failing, I'm just going to stop now so I can start winning and just living the life versus feeling stressed out and feeling guilty because I'm not doing what I'm doing. So I encourage you, instead of this all or nothing mentality, think about gray areas. Think about where there's an alternative. And that goes for making goals that are like time related. Example of that is, going back to the exercise one, is saying that I wanted to exercise 5 days a week and for 2 hours. But then you exercise, for the first week, 5 days a week, but you only exercise, for an hour. But then the next week you exercise for 4 days, but it was for an hour and a half. And in both of those times you're saying, oh, I failed. I failed because I didn't, the one day I did set, it worked out the many days I said I was going to work out, but I didn't work out for the set time. And if you think about it, working out 1 hour versus no hours, no minutes, makes a difference. Every little bit counts. But if you have this all or nothing mindset that, this resolution perfection is that if I didn't do it for the 2 hours, I failed, then of course you're not going to stick with it. You're going to fall off the wagon. You're going to be like, nah, I'm good. This is for the birds. I want you to know that creating these resolutions and goals and changing your habits, it's a sprint. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And it's not, and what I mean by that is you have to give yourself time to know that it's going to take you time to get through these goals. It's going to give you time to make some changes. There's going to be things that happen through your life. So it is a marathon and it's not a sprint. And the other thing I always see is that people make so many goals and they expect to get them done. And they so January 1st comes and they have this laundry list of goals. I'm going to eat well. I'm going to become a vegan. I'm going to, I'm going to invest my money. I'm going to start a new business. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to travel. I'm going to, all these different things. So whatever it is, having all these goals is too much and it becomes overwhelming. And when you're trying to do all these changes at one time, your body and mind and soul are like that Monique gift, like, this is too much. It's too hard. And so you give up because it's too overwhelming. And that makes sense as overwhelming because that's a lot of change at one time. So I encourage you to keep that in mind. And the last point that I wanted to bring up about why you're not being able to stick to your resolutions year after year after year is this mentality, and it goes back to kind of what we talked about with vision boards, is visualizing success, thinking that if you just visualize success will make it your dreams a reality. And I'm calling BS. I'm totally calling BS on that as well. You can't, let me backtrack. So what oftentimes many people do is they will just visualize the end result. They'll visualize that this is my life, after I've lost all the weight. This is my life after I've learned to make better financial choices. This is my life after I've gone vegan. And instead of thinking about, what is happening during the journey and visualizing that. And scientists have shown through studies that many times when people only focus on visualizing the end, they're going to fail because they haven't, worked out and thought about the journey and how they're going to get there and all these different things. And so if you're only focusing in on the end result and not the journey and how you're getting there, you're just going to fail. So really, it goes back to this name it, claim it mentality and this attitude. It's not just name it, claim it. I visualized it, so therefore it must be boop. It is really letting yourself think about what the journey is. And so if your goal is to, I don't know, if your goal is to travel more, so you're thinking about, okay, imagine yourself, the process you go through to pick your different destinations. Imagine the process you go to and finding, a good travel deal. I love a good travel deal. I got one it was last week. Last week I found an amazing airfare for $300 to Africa. Loving that. But imagine yourself finding a great travel deal like that to the place that you're going. Imagine you buying all these amazing clothes and, picking them out and the fun that comes with that. And so visualize the journey. Visualizing the journey is just as important as visualizing the end. And again, it's not just name it, claim it, whatever. It's name it, claim it, believe in it. It's name it, claim it, and then put action behind it. So I've talked about why your vision boards are sucking. I've talked about why your resolutions, you're not being able to stick to your resolution. You fall off the wagon. Many people by the end of March, and only 12% of people who create goals or resolutions are actually feeling like they succeeded. And I don't want to leave you on a Debbie Downer moment. So I decided to also throw in, so how can you not fall off the wagon? What can you do to stick to your resolutions and goals? And this could be for anything. It doesn't have to be just New Year's resolutions, but it could be any goals that you're setting within your life. It could be any habits you're trying to change, routines. And I encourage you, if you are looking to create a new routine, like a morning and evening routine, we have a really good ebook that we created that is for free. It's a free ebook. It's 12 pages long, but it gives you really in-depth information with a habit tracker and all these different things that will help you help set you up to be more productive and happier. So if that's something that is in your life that you want to do, it's part of your New Year's resolution, I encourage you to go to our website and grab that. But let's get into how can you not fall the wagon and how can you stick to your resolutions and goals. And the first thing is to set SMART goals. And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying smart versus stupid goals. There's no stupid goal. SMART goals, what I mean by that is the acronym for SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals. So it's not about saying my goal is I'm just going to get in shape. But instead of saying I'm going to get in shape, it's saying I'm going to lose 10 pounds by, doing yoga 3 times a week and then 2 times a week going for a run, which I would never do, but saying that's your goal I'm going to do these things and I'm going to lose 10 pounds by March 10th. It's choosing, again, a specific goal, doing something that's achievable. So I guess me running would not be achievable, but if it's for you, it's achievable. And it's so making sure that your goals are SMART makes a huge, huge difference. The other thing, and I alluded to it earlier, is making one goal at a time. I'm not saying you can't have different resolutions and different goals. Definitely have different goals and different resolutions. But what I'm saying is really allowing yourself to really hone in and focus on one goal at one time. Because focusing on one goal at one time, you're more likely to have it be a long-term success. And also break up those goals into smaller goals, making it more attainable and making it more realistic. So when you have more wins, like you have more smaller wins, it motivates you to keep going on versus having this one big lofty goal and one big lofty win that's in the wins. When you don't have small wins, you don't have the motivation always to kind of keep you going. And a huge thing that I constantly see, and this will make the huge difference of whether you really succeed or not in making these goals this year, is don't wing it. Making sure you have a plan, a methodical plan. The plan is just as important as whatever your goal and intention or feeling that you want to have. You make sure that you're writing out your why. Why is it that I want to feel this way once I've accomplished this goal? And knowing your why in the morning and evening when things get hard or whatever it's going on, when life happens, because life is going to happen, knowing your why you are doing this makes such a huge, huge difference. Also figure out what are the tactics you're going to take to achieve your goal. And in that same vein, think about what obstacles may show up, because again, life is going to happen. Things are not going to go well. If you think about any Disney movie, Snow White had issues, Cinderella had issues, and they lived in these perfect little la-la lands. So imagine if Disney characters have issues, things are going to pop up in your life. So it's best to try to think about what those things are now, so you can create strategic plans for, okay, when this thing comes up, how can I move forward? So if I am trying to be a vegan and that's my goal, what I would say to myself is, okay, I want to be a vegan, but I have a family vacation coming up. Okay, what are the things I need to do or need to think about in terms of making sure I stick to my diet and don't just quote unquote cheat because, oh, I'm on vacation. It is what it is. And being able to stick with it. And so that's something to consider. And also start with small goals. It is a process. So again, going back to that vegan example, if you want to become vegan or you want to eat more plant-based, start small. So instead of going cold turkey from being carnivore of the year to, Bugs Bunny. I don't even know why I went with that, but that's what went in my head. But it's going from one extreme to the next extreme. Start off maybe 3 times a week eating plant-based. And do that for, 2 weeks. And then add more days and different things until you've reached the larger goal. But give yourself time to not create this big leap, but to slowly ease into the changes with grace. Give yourself grace. Give yourself time. Your body, your mind needs time to realize, oh, you're trying to change something because you're so used to habits are called habits because you don't have to think about it. You just do them on routine. So you want to make sure that you give yourself time and the energy and the space to create the changes you want. And oftentimes I know people will make the same goal, different year. So it's like new year, new me, but it's really same goal, but it's new year, old me, same goal, no changes. And so instead of, you can still make the same goal, but this year I want you to do something different. If you already tried and failed, or you think you failed at your goal, I want you to think about these things different. And I want you to reflect on what you did in the past to achieve your goal. What were the obstacles? What were your results? What were things that you can do now? What are things you can do now that can make truly a difference in how you go about achieving this goal? And so get real with yourself in these moments, and also give yourself some support. Having an accountability group, partner, in having resolutions and goals makes such a difference because, when we're doing it by ourselves in a silo, we'll cheat because we think no one else saw that. If I told myself my house is going to be spotless 365 days of the year and I live alone and no one's noticing it, I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell on myself, and there's no one else besides the ghosts that live with me who are going to tell, and they aren't speaking to anyone, so we're cool. You want to have the support so you can help motivate other people, and also you may have a difficult situation and you might want to be able to lean on them to say like, oh, okay, well, I was dealing with that one situation before too. This is what I did. So having support and celebrating your wins is so important. And just as important as one of those things is giving yourself grace and compassion. I talk about this all the time, but I really want to get that into your heads that, things are going to happen. Bumps are going to happen. And when those bumps and mistakes happen, instead of saying automatically, oh, I failed, look at them as learning lessons, learning and how can you adapt. Okay, so I did things this way and, I didn't do it exactly the way I wanted to. I'm going to give myself grace. I didn't walk 5 days a week. I walk 4 days a week. I didn't exercise for 2 hours. I exercised for, 30 minutes or whatever it is. What can I learn about myself? Or I said I was going to exercise every morning, but then I realized that I'm not really a morning person. I don't feel motivated, but I feel more motivated in the evening. Well, then adapt. If you feel that you do better in the evening to exercise in the morning, no one said because you wrote this resolution that it was a morning exercise routine that you can't change it. You can change it. Adapt based on your preferences and what works for you. Do not beat yourself up. Why make a resolution so you can feel bad about yourself? There's nothing good about that. If you're going to make a resolution and then beat yourself up, tell yourself that you failed, tell yourself that you're not good, I'd rather see you just not do it and avoid the stress and avoid the heartache, and make sure you give yourself grace so you just get up and try again. Okay, so you didn't do something that week or didn't do it all the way that you wanted to do it. Okay, so what? I did something, or I'm just going to, dust my shoulders off in the great words of Jay-Z and just try again. And so those are my thoughts on how you can succeed and why you're not succeeding at resolutions and vision boards and how you can truly thrive. And I would love to hear some ahas you guys have had from this podcast. What's one resolution? And you heard me say one resolution that you are keeping and that you are making. And I also want to know, what is one obstacle that you thought that might be in the way, and how are you planning on overcoming that? And if I can help, just send me a message. So I'd love to hear from you. Send me a DM on Instagram or send me something on Facebook. I'm not really on Twitter, but sort of am, but really, really not. But so send me a DM on Instagram. Again, it's Hellowell with Danielle. And I want to hear from you guys what you're learning from this. What were the things you take away, and what's the one resolution you are putting together? I didn't put a resolution together. Shocker. And there is no vision board this year. But what I did do, which was new for me this year, was I decided to create a word for this year. And my word for this year, and this is my first time ever doing it, is allow. And, it's funny. I posted an Instagram story the other day saying I was having a really bad year already. I'm like, all 5 or 6 days of this 2021, it's been kind of not the best because, when you say, I want to allow, abundance to come in, I want to allow whatever it is to come into my life, that's allowing in everything. So I allowed myself to shine a big old theatric light on my limiting beliefs. And it was like, ooh, honey, this is a lot. I was like, I didn't want to allow that in. But you got to realize when you are manifesting using your words, your vision boards and whatever, you don't have control over what it is coming in. So I can't say, oh, I want to just allow this, but not that in. And so I had to accept that, okay, I want to grow. And part of that growth is getting them out of my comfort zone. So getting out of my comfort zone is going to have to get out of my old habits and into recognizing and being awakened to what is not working for me, interrupting what no longer serves me so I can redefine life and live the life that I truly desire. So I had to kind of have a come to Jesus moment with myself, like when you said allow, honey, we're allowing. And so that's my word for the year. And so along with whether you got any ahas out of this episode or if you're making resolutions, let me know, did you create a word? And what is your word for 2021? All I know is this is our year to thrive. It is all about thriving. We are no longer surviving. We stopped surviving in 2020. And I know it's going to take a little bit of time in getting into that. That's why I'm creating the masterclass that's happening on January 28th to make sure that we survive and that we are thriving. We are thriving. There's so many things that we have already noticed in 2021 that will definitely come towards us that we aren't expecting. So we need to be rooted and grounded so we can thrive this year. So that's all I got for you this week. I look forward to talking to you soon. Hit me up in those DM streets. Again, we have the Reiki giveaway. Let me know what's going on, what your ahas are. And I just want to hear from you. And if, that's about all I have to say. I'll just leave it at that. And I will talk to you guys next week. Take care. All right. Bye. Thanks for joining us this week on the Hello Well with Danielle show. Make sure to visit our website, hellowellwithdanielle.com, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music and never miss an episode. Also, you can follow us on social media at HelloWell with Danielle on Facebook and Instagram, and HelloWell Danny on Twitter. And if you hella love the show and got some good nuggets out of it, know that I'm not too proud to ask for you to please leave a rating or review on iTunes so that we can continue to expand our reach and help other women of color. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week. Ciao.